Why should I have to suffer? I mean, really, how long can this possibly go on? They've been taking medication for years and nothing seems to be improving. In fact, it's only getting worse. It's like they've checked out of life and now just walking around like a zombie. And when I get frustrated, they don't care. It's all about them, what they need, what they want, and how they're feeling. They never consider how I might be feeling or how any of this is affecting me. Why can't we just be like normal couples? I just don't know how much longer I can live with this. It's just too much. I love my spouse, but I hate living with mental illness. Hi, welcome to You Can Talk. I'm Ruth Finney, and whether we've made these statements out loud or just in our minds, when the person we love suffers from some form of mental illness, these are just some of the thoughts that we battle every day. Whether we're going to leave or if we're going to stay, whether we're going to fight or just give in because we're so worn down, these are the choices that have to be made. If you're married or dating, or if you're struggling to communicate with family or friends or people you work with, then this is the channel that will help you experience some real change. If you're willing to put some simple principles into practice, meet me here on Thursdays. Become a part of the Talk community by subscribing to You Can Talk, and walk with me through the user's manual as we discover some revelations in communication that you can incorporate into your life, so you can talk your way to healthier relationships. In the last episode, we talked about how we can begin to approach conversations when we're facing the walls of mental illness that we may not even know exist. If you missed it, you can click this tab right up here, and I'll put a link down below in the description near the subscribe button, which you can also click, and see how the manufacturer dealt with those suffering from mental illness. Now, I'm no mental health expert, so I'm not going to step out of my lane and get into any conversations about medications and health regimens. There are a million videos out there on that, so I will leave that to the health experts. But because it is still Mental Health Awareness Month, in today's episode, I want to continue to talk about how we cope, learn to communicate healthy boundaries, maintain self-care, and even thrive when we're the partner of someone struggling with some form of mental illness, and the mental illness has become bigger than the relationship itself. Listen, I don't care how wealthy, educated, experienced, lucky, blessed, independent, healthy, successful, or even saved you are. When it comes to matters of the heart, the playing field is even for everyone. We are all equally vulnerable to love. And whether we entered into our relationship fully aware, having some idea or absolutely no clue that the person we've chosen to give our heart to suffers from mental illness, it doesn't change the fact that we love them. Because love is the highest level of hope that we can experience, we underestimate the level of struggle and the overwhelming power mental illness can have on our day-to-day dealings, our decisions, our experiences, our emotions, our ability to show love, or even just our ability to express what we're feeling, what we're missing, what we're wanting, and what we need. We think we can handle it. We think we can overcome it or beat it or love them out of it. So rather than seeking help from the jump, we sometimes knowingly and unknowingly take on the full responsibility of it because we're their partner or their spouse and they need us and we're going to be there for them no matter what, right? Therein lies mistake number one. Not seeking assistance. Mental illness is not our burden to carry alone. When we live with mental illness, we face situations that are weighty, oppressive, hard to cope with. Therefore, we need to seek help and support and learn how to hand over the things that are too hard for us to bear. And there are a couple of ways that we can do this. The first thing we can do is admit that we're struggling with it. This is not an issue to be prideful with. If we're struggling mentally in any way with our loved one, if we don't take action, it will devour us with stress, anxiety, depression, anger, resentment, and a host of physical health issues and even thoughts of suicide. So we want to find real support, be it a counselor, a local support group through a hospital or a community or faith-based small group. We need the strength of others to help see us through those darkest days. Mental illness may seem insurmountable to stand up against, but our user's manual tells us that we can find strength in numbers. In Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verses 9 through 10, it says, "Two are better than one, because they have a good reward for their toil. For if they fall, one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him who is alone when he falls, and has not another to lift him up." When we join with others who are overcoming the same battles we face, we build a community of fellowship that helps us to keep balance when we feel like giving our relationships over to mental illness instead of allowing mental illness to be a part of the relationship. It's like having children or pets in the house. If we don't teach them, train them, and set up boundaries, they will run amok and completely take over our house and our relationship. Well, mental illness is the same way. Which brings me to my next point, which is creating healthy boundaries for ourselves and for the ones we love, so we don't go postal on them. If you live with mental illness, you know it will step on your toes, call us every name under the sun, hurt our feelings, and have us feeling unworthy of love and life every chance it gets if we let it. Therefore, we have to set up healthy boundaries, stand firm on our words and actions, and not allow our loved ones to put us in positions of guilt, feeling like we could or should be doing more. We can't take on all the blame, feeling like we're the sole reason this negative experience is happening. We have to stop overcompensating in areas where they're not performing, and even overcommitting ourselves to the point of exhaustion, resentment, and regret. We also have to set boundaries with our words. When we get into word battles with mental illness, it's like getting into a knife fight. No matter who starts it, both people are going to come out bleeding. And the only question from there is, will we recover? And if so, what permanent injuries are we possibly facing? So those are not battles that we want to enter into, because nobody wins in those. The pain that's already present only gets more intense and more unbearable. So when we see a conversation, a tone, a mood, or some sort of negative dagger being thrown our way, the best thing to do is get out of the way. Let it fly right by you. Don't go get it and throw it back at them, because then the bell will ring and the fight is on. And that's not where we're trying to go. If they persist on throwing daggers, we can say, "I heard you the first time. I see that you're upset. If you want to have some dialogue about what you're feeling, then we can talk about it, but I'm not going to fight with you. If you persist down this road, I will walk away. And when you're in a different state of mind, we can try it again." And follow through with what we said we would do, whether that's talking or walking away. This cycle of behavior may have to repeat itself over and over again, but eventually a boundary will be set and we can move on to setting others from there. When mental illness is a part of the relationship, self-care is priority number one. If we are not good, we are no good to our loved ones. That means recognizing when we're getting overtired and creating some time to get rest. That may mean taking a nap, going to bed early, scheduling a massage, or if feasible, even an overnight retreat. Whatever form of rest that will help us to recover and get us refueled to keep us running at a steady pace so we don't burn out and want to quit. We also have to tend to our own personal needs and wants. That means doing the things that keep us in a healthy state of mind, whether that be our favorite form of exercise, getting back into a hobby that we've put aside, taking in a movie that we've been wanting to see, or reading a book we've been wanting to read, or simply getting re-engaged with friends that we've ignored because we've just been so preoccupied with our loved one that we've let everyone else in our lives go. We have to stay in touch with our own lives so that we don't feel neglected, unappreciated, or unloved. We need a community of people in our lives to help feed our minds and our spirits. Once we've learned how to cope with the often roller coaster of emotions that come with mental illness, set up healthy boundaries of communication, tend to our own needs and desires, then we can actually begin to thrive in our relationship, even when mental illness is a part of it. And here's how. We have to take baby steps in finding things to do together that each of us can enjoy. That may be as small as getting out of bed and watching a movie together in the living room with all of our favorite snacks, or taking in a movie together outside of the house at a theater, or maybe there's a drive-in theater near your area. It may mean being able to take an overnight trip somewhere, or simply a drive around the block or down a country road with the windows down and some fresh air coming through. We can also find a small project around the house that can be done in a day or a few hours, like planting a tree or a bush, setting up a nice little patio area to enjoy, or just picking out a new piece of furniture or wall decor for the house. Depending on the severity of the mental illness, try to find something positive to enjoy together, even if it's only for like 30 minutes. Over time, these little baby steps will shift our focus, build trust, strengthen bonds, and reconnect us to the love that used to be the main part of our relationships. Mental illness doesn't have to be the elephant in the room stinking up our relationship. It can just be a little whatnot sitting on the table that we know is there, but it's not the main focus. No matter what mental struggles we face, we are all worthy of experiencing love in our relationships, even when we're faced with the trials of mental illness. In our user's manual, our manufacturer tells us in James chapter 1, verses 2 through 8, to count it all joy when we fall into various trials, knowing that the testing of our faith produces patience. But let patience have its perfect work, that we may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. For if any of us lacks wisdom, let us ask of God, who gives it to all liberally and without reproach, and it will be given to us. But let us ask in faith, without doubting. For we who doubt are like a wave of the sea, driven and tossed by the wind. When we doubt, we can't suppose to receive anything from the Lord, because we're double-minded and unstable in all of our ways. So stay willing, hopeful, and stay prayed up. If you can relate to any or all of these communication struggles and are tired of the seemingly endless cycle of communication barriers that are keeping you from the relationships that you desire to have with others, then become a talker. Subscribe to You Can Talk. Select that notification bell down below and meet me here on Thursdays for the next episode, where I'll be discussing more ways that we can talk our way through these trying times. Leave a comment below and let me know, what will be your tip of the week or talk-inspired practice that you're willing to commit to working on? Whatever it is, I'm rooting for you and praying for you, because you can tame the tongue, approach with compassion, listen deeply, knock down the barriers, and talk your way to healthier relationships. Let your communication be the light of God's love the world so desperately needs to hear. Thanks for watching, and if you would, please like and share this video, and I will see you here next Thursday.